So today I get to play cowboy in a sense. The cows broke through the fence here in New Mexico. From what I understand, it's a free-range state, which means the cows can come onto your property as they please, and it's your responsibility to keep the cows off your property. So they came through here, they busted up some wire. That's one spot they came through. I gotta find out where else they came through. There's a couple of spots that look like they busted through, but for now I just gotta put a strand of wire. I mean, they pretty good. So they busted through here. See if I can get this patched up enough to prepare them for the night. But cows are pretty persistent creatures. If they want to come in, they're coming in. Not like they need an invite. See if we can get this twisted enough where hopefully that'll hold that part off for now. I know the little calves can probably get through there, but I've got to get actual tools, the barbed wire stretching tool out here, and fix that. So I think I got to fix another part up there because I see some tracks here where they came through here. They must have came down from there and came through this side of the road. So that will need to be fixed. All right, so this piece right here is good for now. I'm going to go up the road just a little bit and see if I can figure out where else they came in at. Yeah, it looks like right here is where these cows came through. They must have wanted in pretty bad because they busted right through the wire. This used to be a T-post, but it's a L-post now. I guess that weighs an L. Oh, that weighs an L. So it's an L-post now. So definitely gonna have to put a new post out there up tomorrow. Got to get more wire, but they went that way when we came up here in a truck with the dogs. They took off down towards the creek, so they busted through somebody else's land as well too, and got up this way. We know the gentleman who the cows belong to, but like I said, New Mexico is a free-range state, which means cows and horses have free range of the land, which means it's your responsibility to keep them out of your property. So you see a lot of fence cutting going on around here. People will cut fence so that their cows have access to grazing land, but that's not what happened here. They literally got through here. On the other side of the property, we did find some fence cut where they have access to water because the creek runs through here, and then they get free grazing. So it's kind of a problem that we were made aware of and that we need to keep an eye on. But I'm going to go ahead and repair this. And while I'm repairing this, just half-ass repairing it, I wanted to just talk about a couple of things that kind of I've been made aware of, you know, being off-grid and understanding, you know, the ins and outs of living off-grid now that we've been here a couple of months, and, you know, following a couple of people on YouTube that we follow on YouTube, and you know, it's kind of like when you put a situation out there, you put a situation out there that you're dealing with within the groups of YouTube or even Facebook. I'll just say social media. God damn, they stomped all this down. You're going to get a lot of different perspectives. You're going to get a lot of different, I don't know, I'm going to call it personalities that surface out of the woodwork, because the funny thing about human beings is they like to be right. Nobody likes to be wrong. Nobody likes to be considered ignorant or an idiot or whatever you want to call it. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to have an opinion on how to do things, why to do things, and especially how to do things. I've found that, you know, a bulk of the people who are on social media, on these off-grid sites, and you know, who are answering questions for people who are actually living on off-grid situations. They live in cities and they live in towns and they have electricity and they have running water and they have all these amenities that we don't have out here. I posted a video on one of the sites because we'd been having mice problems. The mice have been destroying our garden. They try to get into our cabin and get into our food locker, and I ain't having that. You know, there's no natural predators. There's really no natural predators out here for mice. We got owls and hawks, but at 9,000 feet, there's no snakes out here. So the mice go pretty much unchecked. So I posted a video on a trap that Nikki came up with. Another prepper told her how to build a mouse trap out of a bucket. And I'll post that video after I'm done talking on how to post that bucket, on how to set up a bucket with a pipe and a can and peanut butter, and you fill the bucket with water, and the mice actually fall into the bucket and drown. Well, over the last couple of days, I'm going to say we've probably picked off 12, 15 mice. Field mice. Mind you, we're just talking about field mice here. We're not talking about, you know, gophers or anything like that. We're just talking about field mice. And they're abundant out here. They're everywhere. Those field mice are everywhere. If we can just catch 10 of them in one night, kind of just messing around, I don't think they're endangered species. So I'm not really worried about killing off a few mice that, in my opinion, have, you know, they were here before us. They were here before we were here, and I get it. But now they're eating my food, or trying to eat my food, and they're killing our plants and killing off all our new growths that we have in the garden. So they got to go, and they're doing it at night. And there's not enough owls around here because these mice have the cover of the ground, the rocks and everything, to kind of sneak around in. So they don't do a whole lot of, here I am, owl, come eat me. So they don't get eaten very often. My point is, you got these people who are kind of, I'm going to move this camera down here so I can keep talking and you can hear me. You've got these tree hugger types, or these animal activist types of people who think you should do it the humane way, and avoid killing a mouse and avoid killing a creature that is just being a creature. Well, I'm a creature. I'm just being a creature too. But you know, I don't see anybody worried about my food supply being diminished because one mouse came in and ruined my food supply, or 10 mice came in and ruined my food supply. So people have a way of showing up with their opinions about things. And you know, well, you should get a cat. Well, what's the cat going to do? You think the cat's just going to run it off the land? It's going to kill it too. Well, you should use mothballs. Okay, I'm all out of stock on mothballs right now, so I don't have any mothballs, and I'm not going to use mothballs and hope that night I go to bed that those mothballs keep the mice out of my food. So we use this trap, and it's pretty cool because the mice don't stand a chance. They just don't stand a chance at all. They fall in and they can't get out. And my whole idea is I need to thin the herd here. There's too many mice here. They've gone unchecked. Nobody has been up here to keep them in check. There are no natural predators, but you know, my whole point is off-gridders, homesteaders, off-grid homesteaders. We all live in different environments, different ecosystems, and we all have different resources. Some people get water from a well, some people get water from a snow melt, some people get water delivered out to them, and there's no just one way to get water when you're in an off-grid situation. Some people, you know, same thing with electricity. Some people have turbines, some people have solar panels, some people use the creek or the river that they use for hydroelectricity. So there's just all kinds of ways that electricity and water are available. You know, even same thing with using the bathroom. I mean, you've got people who have outhouses, you have people who have septic systems, you have people who have composting toilets. I mean, there's just so many different ways that things happen out here in the bush. You know, same thing with internet or cellular service. Some people have satellite reception for Wi-Fi. Some people have very sketchy cell service like we do. Some people don't have access to service at all, so they have to go into town and download stuff. It takes, literally, when I make these videos, I'm going to say it takes me at least 3 hours to download a 20-minute video, and that's why I do it at night. I guess it's the less jumbled up time for cell service, so I just do it at night, and in the morning the video's downloaded, and I can edit it onto YouTube. And so YouTube videos, stuff like that, I kind of you know, make them not necessarily to become monetized or anything like that, or to do sponsorship or anything like that. I guess we do YouTube videos because we just want to share what we're doing out here with people. We want to show people that the common person who doesn't accept donations from Patreon through their viewers, or request payments from Patreon or sponsorships or any of that stuff that a lot of YouTubers and Instagrammers, or whatever you want to call them, social media people who do it. I mean, we're fitness coaches as well too, and we saw it in the fitness community with the YouTube videos, and I mean, you're going to find it in any community that you enter into with where it's an interest, off-gridding, fitness, even, you know, being a Harley Davidson rider. You're going to find that as well too. In the Harley Davidson community, you're going to have a few YouTubers that are out there, and they're entertaining, and they're good talkers, and they have you know, money to throw into editing and buying clips and sound bites and music and putting together a good YouTube video. And I frankly I do all the editing myself. I'm not an editor. I'm just a person who can figure some things out, and it takes me a long time. It takes a while to do it. Luckily, I have a lot of downtime where I can usually edit a video, a 20-minute video, and that's why I just do talking. I don't want to do a whole lot of this is how you do this step-by-step stuff, because you know that's not what our channel is about. Our channel is about sharing the experience, what we learn, what we figure out through not only physical, mental, and spiritual, but through the experience of being out here. I mean, I'm not a farmer. I'm not a rancher. My wife is not either. We've never done this before, so we're kind of just figuring it out as we go along. But you know, it's a journey. So you know, when you see certain YouTube channels, and you start feeling like, well, maybe I'm not doing what I'm doing right. Maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not smart enough, or whatever. You know, it's I don't worry about that shit. I kind of come out here and do my thing and talk to the camera, because I talk to myself anyway when I'm working. I literally do. I can have a conversation with myself, but I found that if I'm on camera, I don't cuss as much as I do when I'm by myself. When I'm by myself, I cuss a whole lot. You know, I do cuss way too much, I think, sometimes. I need to wrap this around that end. But, you know, that's my personality. I cuss. I'm not a goody-goody boy. And neither is my wife. She's not goody-goody either. We've been through life. We've experienced the bullshit, so, but when I work, I do, and I'm alone, I do talk to myself, but that's just the way I am. So, I have a special way of pissing some people off when I do talk too much. So, shit, I almost fell. But like I said, we're out here for the experience. We're not out here trying to make money off of being out here. We're not out here trying to be liked or admired or revered or any of that shit. We're just out here living our lives. So, you know, if you follow our channel, we might offend you, and that's okay. I get offended a lot by a lot of shit people do. So, but you know, that's what makes everything great and not boring, is the different levels of experience that we have as human beings. You know, you could be on one side of the planet experiencing something, and I'm over here on this side of the planet experiencing the same fucking thing you are, except to you it's going to be French, and to me it's going to be absolute clear English. So I think that'll keep the cows out until I can get out here and do a right job, and with right tools. They come through here, then they earned it. I think I ought to tighten up on this one though. Whoever did this did a shitty job, and that's loose, and that's why it's like that. That's why they were able to get through. But all right, I'm gonna leave it there, and like I said, I'm gonna post that mousetrap video so people can see it and understand it. You know, some people, I mean, I value life. I value a lot of things that are sacred, but when a mouse is trying to take my food, I'm at the top of the food chain, and he's not, so he's going to get dealt with accordingly. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and share that video with y'all. So enjoy it. I'm just got back from fixing the fence, and Nikki's up here gardening. I told her that I had done a video about you know, different perspectives and different opinions from people off-gridding, and she wanted to share her experience on that part too. Yeah. So after this video, I'll show you the mouse video, because that's a funny video.
Well, I just wanted to kind of tie into, you know, off-grid advice. It's really fantastic when you ask a question or you need some kind of advice, like gardening. Gardening's kind of my job out here, and I've been a gardener for a while. I've never had a huge garden, but I've grown food to some degree, and typically wildlife pests, whenever I was doing city gardening, it was my own dog, destroyed my garden. Out here, you can see I've got potatoes growing in a pot. You can see I've got some Swiss chard. Back over there is some romaine. There's a row of kale, a couple of tomato plants over here, kale, and just all around different stuff, experimenting with the land. So, you know, I kind of write these stories about every week, what we do, where we are, how we're doing, how we're surviving, and part of that is our food source. And it seems like I get a lot of advice that is completely irrelevant when it comes to our food source in this land. Things like, well, you need to go have your soil tested. You need to protect your food from the animals. The animals need to eat too, so plant extra food for them to eat. That one makes me laugh, because you know, that's not a guarantee that that's going to stop them from destroying my food. Now, potato leaves apparently are toxic to animals, or they don't taste good, so they don't touch them. That's a good thing. Today, I had peas over here, and I've got a snap pea plant here, and I've got a little bitty pea plant under there that was not so little, and then I have a hole over here. You can kind of see it right around the corner in there, underneath. It was pretty big, and then right over there in that blank space there was another pea plant that was probably this big, and came up here. They were all gone. They'd been snipped off. Something had tore through here and got to it. So I had to find twist ties from bread, all kinds of shit that we have or don't have. I had to get creative. You can see I've got lettuce growing in here. I had to find a way to cover that. I just don't want to lose anything. I had to make little teepees to prevent the birds. You got chain. All of this stuff is what I do to protect my stuff. We had a chipmunk get in and eat our lettuce this morning, so you can kind of look in there and see. So people don't understand that the shit is real. This is not me complaining a little bit about, you know, well, my animal or some animals got into my stuff. This is my food source. And so I'm dealing with weather, I'm dealing with wind, I'm dealing with cold, I'm dealing with soil that's dry and dusty. Altitude. All kinds of shit that I'm dealing with. And I get a lot of advice from people who, well, I'm not off grid. I live in an apartment in New York City, but you should do this. I could have Googled it and practiced it, but unless it's 100%, it's not really going to work. So you can kind of see the work I did today, not based on anyone's advice, based on what I have found so far that's working. Everything's covered up. I don't know how I'm going to harvest the shit. I'm going to have to pull it out, but as you can see all the way up, nothing eats onions. But there's a lot of advice. I guess that's the whole thing here. There's a lot of advice about what I should be doing versus what I am doing. And that advice comes from people who, they don't live here. They don't live 9,000 feet elevation. They don't live in these beautiful lands that are, I'm not going to say unmanned, but sparsely manned. So there's not a lot of people up here. So we're having to figure this out on our own. I've had a few individuals, the one who helped me out with the mouse trap, that was a recommendation, and she She is an off-grid person. She does understand the destruction of her garden, and that's where I got that idea from. So yeah, I appreciate the advice, but I really, really like to hear from those people who live this in a zone 5, 9,000 feet up, with we've been here 2 months. It's rained twice. I'm just gonna say, so not a lot of rain. So unless you've got those conditions and have dealt with the chipmunks and have dealt with the mice and have dealt with anything in those conditions, it's probably not going to help me out much. It might, but you know, can't run to the store and get some mothballs, can't run to the store and can't run to the store. Let me just throw that out there. I can't just get in my car and run to the store. So, you know, I can't order off Amazon, can't order from this seed place or this chick hatchery or whatever. I got what I got. This is my bounty. So I'm gonna work my bounty, and I greatly appreciate any advice that people have, like growing squash in zone 5. I'm probably premature on it, although they are sprouting some nice big leaves. We bought them 3-4 days ago. Now we've got all these leaves. So when I wake up in the morning, everything's wilted. Even though they're water, they're nice and moist. But then as it warms up, so I guess it's probably too chilly in the morning for them. Tomatoes, not really doing great, but they're not doing bad. So that being said, I appreciate the advice, but plus it's relevant, unless you know what it's like to live at 9,000 feet in a zone 5, and you know what it's like to go mono with Mr. Chip and Dale. Probably not going to be helpful to me. So appreciate all the advice though. Thanks.
All right, now you get to see some dead mice in a bucket, so enjoy the video. I kind of wanted to share something with you guys about living off-grid and the realities of off-grid. We've had a little bit of a rodent problem here with field mice and chipmunks and trying to get in our cabin, eat our food, get into our garden, destroying our growth. And we had to come up with a solution to get rid of them, kind of thinning the herd. Another fellow off-gridder on this group shared this idea with us to use a pipe and a can, and to put peanut butter. You can see there's peanut butter on that can, all around the can, so when the mice get up on there, they roll around and they fall into the bucket of water. Now, I know there's a lot of humane ways to deal with mice, but I don't live in town. I don't have access to hundreds of dollars of essential oils or humane traps or whatnot, and I don't have time to deal with these little rodents that are trying to eat my food and killing our growth off. So time to thin the herd. There's too many of them, and they gotta go. Today we caught, let's see how many are in that bucket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that bucket. And the night before there was another 5, and then the night before that there was a few others. But I set a trap here right along where the garden is, where they were getting into killing our growth, and caught a couple that way. But this humane thing, I understand this is probably PG-13 video, parental guidance suggested or whatever, but this is how we're going to deal with it. I think I need to make a couple more of these buckets, set them a little bit further down the hill, and get rid of these little rodents. Like I said, some people are going to be upset that we're killing mice, but you know what? Like I said, we don't have Lowe's, Home Depot, or any other alternative. They've got to go. I'm establishing dominance here, and this is my homestead, and this is where I need to grow my food, store my food, and if they can't agree to those terms, then they're going to have to go away. So we're dealing with them the old-fashioned way. So I'm sure the Native Americans, my ancestors, did not have a Lowe's or a Home Depot or a bunch of essential oils from around the world laying around to deal with mice problems. So I'm dealing with them the old-fashioned way. So Little show of the view here. No Lowe's, no Home Depot. Only way to get rid of these mice is to get rid of them, eliminate them.